12 Realms doesn't have character classes. And while there isn't a rogue class, you can build a sneaky backstabbing thief. And while there isn't a wizard class, you can totally make a bookish, tome-toting, spell-casting mage. You can probably see a pattern. Even though there aren't classes, any fantasy role you want to play, 12 Realms has you covered. That might seem contradictory, so let's break it down. Hi, I'm Adam. I'm a tabletop role-playing game designer working on 12 Realms, which is a new game in development. We're sitting at 185 followers of our 1,000 follower goal, so hit that notify me on launch button as I explain just how characters are made and advance in 12 Realms. You might remember from previous videos that each die represents one item in the game, like a sword, a lockpick, your wind magic. At character creation, you decide what your character is good at. The assumption is that your character has already learned or been trained in a few different things, and they might be naturally gifted in one or two more. So you can wield that blade and pick locks better than the average person. Or you studied or awakened some wind magic inside of you. And if you are good with a sword, it probably means you can pick up other similar weapons and have some rudimentary knowledge of how to use them too. So if you're good with a sword, you might understand intuitively how to wield an axe a little bit, a spear, things like that. You're not nearly going to be as good at them as you are at sword fighting, which you've specifically trained in, but you're going to be slightly better than the average person at least. So being skilled in one thing has this ripple effect into other areas. But that's character creation. How does leveling up work? In 12 Realms, it's probably not going to be called leveling up. There aren't levels. Maybe advancement or progression is better. Remember from other times that every time you attempt to do something and fail, you get an experience point. Once you have enough experience points, you can improve one of your items or your skill with using that item. It means you're just getting better at using that thing. You're better wielding a sword. You're better picking locks with your lockpick. You're better at wind shaping. In initial designs, it was tempting to just give you a better die. Trade in your D6 for a D8, or just add a modifier, maybe a +1 bonus. But that's pretty boring, and it's been done before in other games. That's just a math game. In 12 Realms, when you get better at using something, a sword, for example, you learn new techniques and skills with that thing. Maybe at first with the sword, you only know how to thrust and stab. And then as you get better, you also learn the art of parrying. Maybe a little further on, you can combine your parry with a counterattack. I don't know a lot about real-world sword fighting. So necessarily, among our first hires, we're going to get writers who have real-world experience with a sword, with a bow, things like that. An actual trained swordsperson in real life will know how to progress that because they've lived that progression in their own personal lives. If any of that sounds cool to you, hit that notify me on launch button on the Kickstarter pre-launch page. It really does make a difference. And stay tuned because I have a lot more coming.